So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mighty Rasing, Director of Central Conference Relationships at Discipleship Ministries. And in this video, I am joined by two wonderful and very passionate ladies from the Philippines who worked and continue to work with the Board of Christian Education and Discipleship in the Philippine Central Conference of the United Methodist Church, Miss Phoebe Gamata Crismo, the
Hi.
I would say former now because she's officially retired. So she's the former executive secretary of the Board of Christian Education and Discipleship, a position she has held for many, many years, and she has done a lot of wonderful ministries in the area of discipleship and many other areas. And also Deaconess Mary Joyce Villanueva, who is the new executive secretary at BCED. So uh, I'm dropping one of the acronyms now. BCED stands for Board of Christian Education and Discipleship. So, Ate Phoebe, Ate means big sister in Filipino, by the way. So, Ate
Yes.
Phoebe, Ate Meg, care to talk about your work, your background, so our friends, our Methodist friends from all over will be able to learn about you and your ministries.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning or whatever time it is where you are.
Hello, everyone.
Can you talk a little bit about what does it mean to be a deaconess in the Philippines?
To begin with, once you become a deaconess, you are a full-time worker of the church. And by full-time, I mean service to the church in the name of Christ, 24/7. Deaconesses in the Philippines, the norm for deaconesses in the Philippines is to be appointed to local churches as full-time Christian education directors and or kindergarten, preschool teachers. Christian education directors do music ministry, as in play the organ and piano during worship, teach the choir, and normally there are like 3 choirs in any given church: children, youth, and adult choir, or a chancel choir, as the case may be. So that's music ministry. Deaconesses also do youth ministry. They are workers with youth officially. And they also work with the United Methodist Women, or in the Philippines, Women's Society of Christian Service, and other lay organizations. Likewise, deaconesses do outreach ministries. And then those who are appointed outside the church normally work in institutions for specialized ministry, like ecumenical ministries for those in National Council of Churches, Christian Conference of Asia, even World Council of Churches, and other local ecumenical bodies, or in United Methodist educational institutions as teachers, professors, administrators. But for us, Meg and I worked a long time in the United Methodist Church Philippine Central Conference, Board of Christian Education and Discipleship, and for me at the National Council of Churches for 23 years.
And if I may add, Kuya Mighty, Deaconesses graduated from Harris Memorial College in the past, but now we also have one school, Deaconess School in Mindanao, SPMCI, Ate Febs.
Yes, Southern Philippines Methodist Colleges.
But Harris Memorial College offers deaconess program not only for Filipinos, but they open it for Asian uh, in Asia, and they also have graduates from Africa and some other countries also.
I think right now we have 7 students from Africa, from the continent. I don't know which country they come from, but they are there, male and female, studying to
That's
be deaconesses and home missioners.
right. And I believe home missioners are also a recognized ministry for lay people here in the United States. And I know deaconesses are considered lay people as well, but you see them working hard in many ministries of the United Methodist Church and other ecumenical work in the
And they
Philippines.
preach.
Yes, they are
Yeah,
very theologically
expected to be
savvy,
preachers.
very ministry ready, I would say, in many different ways. So, thank you, Ate Phoebe and Ate Mary Joyce, for sharing about some of the work of the deaconesses. And I just wanted to ask about that because it's important for the topic that we're talking about today, which is the ministry of the Vacation Church School in the Philippines, or VCS. That's the term that I grew up with in the US, and I think in other places. It's also recognized or called Vacation Bible School, or
Yeah,
VBS. But
VBS.
VCS is the term that's usually used in the Philippines. So the Vacation Church School ministry in the Philippine United Methodist Church celebrated centennial.
A
So
hundred
that's a
years,
hundred
right?
years. Ate Phoebe, Ate Mary Joyce, care to share about some of the history of VCS in the Philippines?
Vacation Church School in the Philippines really started as a daily vacation Bible school, and it started here in 1924 through a special grant from the Sunday School Union in the United States, and sent to the predecessor of what is now called the National Council of Churches in the Philippines. Back then, it was called, I think, the Evangelical Union. And of course, the Methodist Episcopal Church, the predecessor of the United Methodist Church, played a very, very important role, as our missionaries had been in the forefront of daily vacation Bible school. It grew by, well, the term they use is by leaps and bounds, because from 1924 through 1928, they had uh, tens of thousands of children reached for daily vacation Bible school. And we produced a centennial book called uh, VCS Kids Then and Now. Oh, that one, that's the book. Celebrating 100 years, looking back on 100 years of Vacation Church School in the Philippines. Yeah, that is a collection of 100 stories and 100 photographs. The photographs on the cover were taken around 1928 through 1932. Uh, very, very expertly preserved by our United Methodist Commission on Archives and History. And the writers from in this book came from the ranks of uh, pastors, deaconesses, lay leaders, university professors, college presidents, and so forth and so on, from all walks of life. And they spoke on one thing: what vacation Bible school has meant for them and what it has done to their lives. I I'm quite proud of that book. VBS, yeah, Daily Vacation Bible School was done in 2 weeks at the time, from, I think, from 1924 onwards to the 1950s or 1960s even. And then it began to, as people got more busy and there were more educational opportunities for children, it became only a 1 week activity. And then by the 1970s, the churches, uh, I have to say that Daily Vacation Bible School then was under the auspices of the National Council of Churches in the Philippines, or back then it was called Philippine Federation of Evangelical Churches. So they produced materials normally patterned after the United States material and adapted to Philippine setting. Uh, the artists and musicians composed songs and produced artworks that will resonate with Filipino children. But in the 70s, uh, up until the 70s, the Catholics and non-Protestants, I mean, The children liked VBS, but their parents were not comfortable sending their children to school to a Protestant activity. So our Christian education leaders thought of instead of the Bible, because in many churches, especially the Roman Catholic Church back then, reading the Bible was not for children and was not even for adults. It was only the priests who would interpret the scriptures. But among Protestants, Bible reading is a daily fare, right? So the Christian educators thought calling daily vacation Bible school vacation church school would be a better way to attract children who are non-Protestants and whose parents are not comfortable having their children learn the Bible from other sources. So that's how it came to be called Vacation Church School, because anyway, it wasn't only the Bible that they learned. They also learned about life and how to deal with others.
So when we say vacation church school, what usually happens?
It's like a Sunday school, but turned into a 1 week or 2 week vacation program. So what we do in Sunday school, we sing songs, we teach Bible stories, we do arts. But in VCS, it's a 2 week with a theme. It's a 10-day session focused on theme. Our theme since 2020, 20 years ago, we started our UMC curriculum. We base our VCS theme on the quadrennial theme of the General Conference. So for the last 20 years, we are doing that. Kuya Mighty, I want to add also that we celebrated 100 years in the Philippines. I think if not all, most of the churches, about 95% of our UMC churches celebrated centennial in the Philippines. And the celebration started last April 3, 2024 at Central UMC. We have gathered around 700 people from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Manila
Yes.
Episcopal, Baguio Episcopal area, and Davao Episcopal area participated in our centennial celebration of VCS. But we also held centennial celebrations in Bicol, Davao. It's on a separate date.
It's really become like one big fiesta. There are parades complete with floats and balloons. Some have their drum and lyre. Uh, uh, yeah,
Wow.
And
you can find them on YouTube.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
type
yeah,
in. Yes, they're everywhere. You know that VCS is the single most awaited
Mhm.
activity for children in any given year.
Right.
It's more popular than any other. And the Board of Christian Education and Discipleship produces a new material every year,
Every
complete with
year.
every
yes.
Wow.
year. Yes, complete with a songbook, a theme song, art materials, and syempre, the teacher's guide and the poster calendar.
So when it's implemented by a local church, what happens, and then who gets to participate in the VCS?
Oh, in any given local church. First, we have the Christian Education Committee planning. They, any church would have at least two classes, one for the church children and another for children outside of the church. Those who go to other churches or don't go to any church at all. And it is safe to say that around 70 to 75 or even 80% of Vacation Church School children are not United Methodists. They are children from the community. The young people, uh, children and youth from ages 12 through 18 or 20, serve as teachers. They go through a week-long training in order to be teaching. And it's very interesting because when a child reaches the older elementary level in VCS, the next thing to do is to serve as an assistant teacher and later on get promoted as a teacher. And it's always like that, and it's so much fun. So what happens in the classes? Well, it's just like any other school, except that it is so much more fun. When children arrive, they meet new friends, they are given name tags, they get registered, and then when they have what is called a general assembly, so they gather together, they do some singing, praise songs, acquaintance songs, and then a devotional. And then they are sent to their age level classes. In the age level classes, oh, they have a 1.5 to 2 hour session learning about the theme, the Bible, the music, and they get to do creative arts and expressional arts. And oh, we call it ABC. ABC, what is it? Uh, oh,
Approach Bible
yeah, arrival, Bible time, and commitment
commitment.
time. Yeah. So that's what they do after all the fun of singing and dancing. They go to a deeper study of the scriptures or through a Bible storytelling session, and then they do expressional activities that implement what they have learned. No? So application part, and then it ends usually with a commitment time or worship time. And children don't like to go home. Many children in rural areas bring their lunch so that they eat there. But churches everywhere always provide snack for children. The merienda, which ranges from lugaw to biscuits to spaghetti. or ano tawag dito? Malabnaw na
Juice.
malabnaw na juice. Juice, flavored water or sweetened water. But as the days progress and nearing the end of VCS, oh, the juice becomes more tasty.
Mm.
So it becomes like apple juice or orange juice, and then the lugaw becomes spaghetti, sometimes even
McDonald's.
Jollibee sandwich.
Burger. Yeah.
Burger, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, Ate Mary Joyce, what are the usual age range of the kids participating in VCS?
We cater from 18 and below. 18 and below
18
because
years old and
yeah,
below.
Yes, yes,
sometimes we have 1 year old, 2 years old with their mothers, with their parents. Yeah.
right.
And also I remember in my church, not only in the church, the VIS is held not only inside the church. In my local church in Bulacan, we have 9 extension programs. So we gather around 50 to 60 young people to teach vacation church school for 9 areas. And I think this is a collective ministry because when young people teach, the MAYAF, WSCS, and UMM participate by sponsoring meals because we give snacks during VCS. We offer lunch to teachers and sometimes transportation because some areas are far from the church. And most of the time, the WSCS or the women group prepare their lunch and meals. Sometimes UMM serves the men, United Methodist men, serves as marshals. And it's a good thing because we extend ministries to the barangays because we communicate with the barangay officials or areas where we can utilize for the VCS class. So I think it's a collective ministry. I thought before when I was teaching at VCS that it's a uh, uh youth
Youth
ministry.
activity.
Yeah, youth activity, um but now I think and um I saw how the whole church works for our VCS program. Some other churches they held classes for 2 weeks because of the many extension. You're talking, Kuya, about not only United Methodist member. In
Right.
our book, we have Bishop Alberto Ramento, ate.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes.
he said in one of his what's this sermons, he said that I will read. He told the crowd that he got his earliest theological training from the Methodist in Gimba, Nueva Ecija, where he grew up. Quote unquote, I learned my theological ABC from the Methodist Church. So he's
Wow.
the bishop of the Iglesia Filipina Independiente.
Yeah,
So,
Wow.
and you know how he got into the VCS? He said during our centennial of Methodism that every summer when he was growing up, he and his elder brother would get a whipping every single day for 2 weeks because they would go out of the leave their house freshly dressed in white shirts in the morning and then go home with the front of their shirts soiled. So where did they get all the dirt? He said that they would go to the back of of the Methodist church, and his elder brother would lift the barbed wire. You know, the fence is barbed wire, so he would lift the lowest uh, barbed wire so that he could crawl in.
roll.
Oh,
And then
wow.
once he got in, he did the same for his brother. And when they went home, they did the same thing. So naturally, they would get home all sweaty and soiled. So they will get a whipping. But next day, they will do that and again until they graduate. So he said, oh, I learned all my ABCs.
That's wonderful that it's not just a church project, but it becomes a community project.
Community.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a
right.
It's a
community.
ministry for the children, the youth, then the young adults usually serve as teachers, and then the older men, older women also bring prepare the snacks. And then not just only that, the ministry happens outside the church involving community leaders.
Yeah.
And so it is a witness to the community, which means that our faith is lived out in the community. People get to see the way that how the church cares for the little children, as Jesus commanded us, of course, and how it brings together, teaches the kids. I also remember because back when I was in college, I went to a church in Marikina, God is Love United Methodist Church in Marikina.
Mhm.
And the same scene, you could have a lot of kids during the day come in, and they would have snacks there, have lunch. Then they would go home in the afternoon. They would be back next day. And I think it's not just the kids who are affected, but also their parents. At one point, one of the parents came and said, "Oh, because of you guys, what you're doing here, our kids asked us to pray before dinner." So
Yeah.
it's a
Right,
simple
right.
gesture, but it's a recognition that these kids, the impact of the faith and the teaching.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's a school, so we after 10 days we have culminating activity or the VCS graduation. And the day after the VCS graduation, children will keep on coming. Teacher, do we have VCS? until the whole vacation. So I think that is also a way for us to invite them in the
Mhm.
church because they're asking for more. They don't want to stop
Right.
attending classes. So I think VCS is really a good ministry. I have several classmates in my masteral. Whenever I introduce myself as a United Methodist deaconess and in charge of VCS, they will say that, oh, I'm a product of VCS, but I'm not a Methodist. I'm not a UMC member. So several of my friends, classmates who are not UMC testify about the
Mm,
goodness VCS brings.
that's amazing. And so, um, could you estimate maybe the number of children participating in VCS like all over the Philippines
The
on any given
Philippines.
year? Like say for example, for last year, maybe we don't keep track of how
Yeah.
many in exact numbers, but maybe if you could provide an estimate how many kids, how many children are impacted by VCS.
There was one year, the Baguio Episcopal area up north of the Philippines, reported 76,000 children in the whole area.
And that's just
So
one
that's
Episcopal area. That's
Yeah.
just
one
one. And we have
Episcopal
three in the
area, and
Philippines.
that's how many annual
Wow.
conferences? Back then it was
12.
7 annual conferences.
So I think it's about almost 200,000 for
Wow.
the whole Philippines. That's a rough estimate.
Yeah, in Mex local church alone, they
Yeah,
have
1,000.
1,500 children in
Wow.
any given year because they have 7 or 6
Nine.
extension,
We have
9 extension
nine
classes. So
Okay.
class.
1,500 children is really not a big number.
The VCS as a ministry continues to be this powerful force, powerful ministry that impacts the lives of like yeah, hundreds of thousands of kids every year. That's amazing. When I think about the scope of the ministry of VCS with the Philippines and its population and the number of kids, um, are there what are some of the challenges that you see are being faced by BCED and VCS in terms of providing this type of ministry?
From the beginning of the COVID pandemic, when children were cooped up in their homes and they got more time doing social media activities, they got hooked on social media, and it's very difficult to break that. It's something like an addiction that whatever they do, they have their cell phones, and it's very difficult to break that. That's one. Everyone is into social media, and so personal interaction takes a back seat. But in VCS, of course, uh, since they have been freed from that, they come.
Mm,
They come to VCS, but because of the social media, some sometimes it works both ways, but that's really a big challenge. Even in their attention span, for instance, that's uh that impacts the effectiveness of VCS. And
mm,
one other thing, of course, is the ever-present problem of logistics.
mm,
How are you going to feed so many
mm,
children? Because the feeding, I think, is
mm,
also, while it is one attraction, it is also a major part of VCS because many of the children need it.
mm.
They go to VCS not having had their breakfast in many communities, especially in the urban poor areas, even in rural poor communities. The church children don't normally need the merienda because they bring their own, but children in the community do. Plus, the young people have gotten so much more commitment elsewhere, and so they have also shortened their volunteering time.
100 years of VCS, there's bound to be changes, and these are
Right.
some of the changes and challenges for this generation. And I think Ate Phoebe, to your point about number one, the attention span in social media, I think that's a worldwide phenomenon that we're facing with kids and young people in general. Now, secondly, I think, and I wanted to lift this up as well because the reality of poverty in the Philippines is that a lot of the kids would sometimes not have breakfast, very meager lunch, sometimes, especially in urban poor areas. And
Yes,
so it's an opportunity as well for the church to be present and feed the kids, not just spiritually but
right.
also their bodies. And sometimes, if you read the Bible in I think it's in Matthew, the sermon before the Sermon on the Mount, the feeding of the 5,000 came. So it helps if you feed them first.
But you would be surprised that many people give out of their pockets, and we don't. The budget is always inadequate, but mothers and elder sisters would uh, would come and they say, "I will sponsor one lunch for the teachers." My neighbors here, they are not Methodists, but the young adults would come to the house and say, Tita, I'm going to sponsor one snacks, one day's snacks. So they give snacks for like 85 children plus 10 teachers, 100 snacks. Yeah. And it's really very inspiring to know that these children who grew up in VCS remember. And they would want one of them came recently and said, when I have children of my own, I'm going to send them to VCS. And they're
And
not
if
Methodists.
I think this is more of opportunities for churches because we know that VCS is for vacation. But after VCS, what happens to the children, to the ministry? I think a challenge for us, for BCED to provide. I think some local churches are having their mission out and outreach ministries for children. But if BCED will provide and promote the mission and outreach programs or um, what's this materials, we can keep on having not just vacation church school but extension ministries, extension classes.
Right, so it's like supporting the church to carry on the
Yeah,
fruits that are being the fruits from VCS, so that
yeah,
I think one of the metaphors we've used with young youth ministry in the past is, if young people attend, say, Christmas Institute, which is the Christmas camp for young people,
yeah.
you light a fire in the young people, but without a candle to catch the fire when they go back to local church, the light in the match sort
We
of
just,
is not
Will.
sustainable. So it doesn't go on. So I think the same is true when the kids hunger for connection, for community, for spiritual nourishment because of VCS. And then um,
Mm.
hopefully the church is also ready to handle and support the follow-ups after that.
Well, I was thinking about how BCED is struggling to to maintain, and then as well to always upgrade the services it offers. Because a big challenge for BCD is to produce better, more exciting materials. It's time. You have to up the ante all the time
Yeah.
because when they enjoy VCS 1 year, they expect more the next and on to the next. So people always ask me, where do you get all of these ideas? What do you do? And sometimes when you've been doing it so many years, it is really a challenge to come up with newer and better original materials. Plus um we do need writers who will make time, to give time to producing these materials. It's very important that we are able to cultivate a pool of writers, bringing in younger ones, and with tapping fresher ideas, and especially how to reach out to the young.
Yeah. Thanks, Adi Phoebe. And I think that's the importance of an institution to the life of the church, that an institution provides some of the continuity for that, the infrastructure support So the ministry continues. There's material every year. There's new ideas. There's a training that support the church in doing this ministry. And I think with there are many challenges around the world, of course, even within the church, right? But I think that one of the things that I've heard, and I've been repeating it, is the work of discipleship continues, the work of community engagement continues. And so this is an opportunity for the church to really be the feet, the hands of Jesus in our community. So I
Mm.
think, and VCS, I believe, has been that for at least 100 years now. So
Yes,
um,
101 this year.
yeah, there you go. And so I think as we wrap up our conversations, what are your hopes for the VCS in the coming years? Maybe in the next 100 years.
Oh, I surely hope it goes on. It may take on other forms, but I really hope it continues to inspire children, to bring out the best in them. So, to many children, VCS is the one and only time they get to hear the word of God. And to many children, I mean, the other children, it's the one and only time they get affirmed as children who are good. And it's also a a place, an experience where they are able to develop hope for the future. And I think that is very important, that VCS continues to bring hope to the children, aside from cultivating a faith in God and living a life of faith, joining the faith community even.
For me, my hope for VCS is to double the number. If we have about 200,000 this year, to double it, and to work in unity with other churches and community, to keep on working with our community through VCS. And the thing I've mentioned, to provide a follow-up session after VCS, so that the the ministry will continue for the whole year.
That's, that's wonderful. A lot of things to hope for in the next 100 years of VCS. And again, I'm sure there will be changes, but one thing is for sure, the love that our churches, our members have for the kids in their community will continue to be felt many years down the line. So Ate Phoebe, Ate Mary Joyce, thank you so much for sharing the story and ministries of Vacation Church School in the United Methodist Church in the Philippines. If people want to learn more about the work that you do, about BCS or about BCED and any other things, where can people find more information?
We have our we already have our website, but it's still at work. A work in progress, and we have our Facebook page, the Board of Christian Education and Discipleship. So we'll give the links for you to post it, and you are welcome if you want to visit our trainings or our VCS. You may do so. You are very welcome. Just inform us ahead so that we can accommodate you well.
Yeah,
Thank you. And you can visit our office at 900 United Nations Avenue, Manila.
yeah.
And we do online training.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
We perfected that during the pandemic. We did
And
Vacation Church School online.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
I want to add that we have for 2 years now, we provided online training to our UMC church in Spain. And
wow.
we wanted to add that the curriculum we are using about 5 years ago, some of our deaconesses are scattered. They're in the Middle East, US, Canada. So they're requesting for the online copy and they're using it for their vacation church school. So our curriculum, the one we are providing, is not only used in the Philippines, but also to some churches in Asia, US,
Canada.
and Spain.
Wow. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
Canada and Middle
maybe
East as well.
Canada, and Middle East.
maybe other United Methodist congregations around the world might be interested. So if
Oh,
if
very much welcome.
if you who are watching this might be interested, then get in touch with me or get in touch with Ate Mary Joyce and Ate Phoebe, and for sure, I think that's the wonderful thing about a connectional worldwide church is this ability to share resources and trade stories from all over the world, and for me, that's my hope too, is that whether between the US and the Philippines, maybe Africa and Europe, it's we share and trade stories and resources to really make to borrow from GBGM Global Ministries from everywhere to everywhere, and we
Everywhere.
share, we work together, and not just one country provides all the resources, right? But this big exchange of lessons learned, of cultures, of God's love being felt all over. So again, some dreams,
Yeah.
some hopes. Ate Mary Joyce, Ate Phoebe, again, thank you so much for sharing the ministry of Vacation Church School, and hopefully, again, from our end at Discipleship Ministries, and hopefully other regions of the church, that the ministry of VCS will grow and that we get to learn from each other on a worldwide perspective.